What's good in the hood, folks? It's Atlanta on Smash. We're talking about Bitcoin and Jesus and the financial salvation. Bitcoin and religion have similarities that no one really cares to talk about, or maybe they are afraid to. Whether in favor of Bitcoin or against the protocol, most who talk about the asset usually attribute an amount of faith as to the reason why you should or shouldn't own it. In Season 1 of Bitcoin Versus, I explained how Cornell University's Eswar Prasad criticized Bitcoin for having no use case, as well as the supposed blind faith that Bitcoiners must have in order to own Bitcoin. In contrast, Michael Saylor, the richest known Bitcoiner in the world, has said publicly on more than one occasion that the amount of faith in the Bitcoin community is the reason why he is confident in Bitcoin as a long-term investment. Some people don't like to talk about the fact that there's a Jesus archetype in the form of an invisible computer geek named Satoshi Nakamoto. When Nakamoto released his Bitcoin white paper, there weren't too many people who understood or believed in his mission to save the world from financial corruption. About 2,000 years ago, when Jesus started his ministry, there were only 12 devout members. Many people throughout Roman Judea, including the Sadducees and Pharisees, were skeptical of Jesus and his radical teachings, including his mission to save the world from spiritual corruption. Despite this, the original disciples were all very eager to spread his word.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Jesus, knowing of the revolutionary task that lay ahead of him, told his disciples this: "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents, and harmless as doves." If we apply this scripture to modern times, we can ascertain that a Bitcoiner is a sheep of Satoshi's proof-of-work protocol. The Bitcoin maximalist has been thrown into the midst of wolves of Wall Street. A true Bitcoiner knows the serpent-like tendencies of the financial monetary system. A true disciple of Satoshi does not fall for the technological temptation of other frivolous cryptocurrencies or non-fungible tokens. And like the disciples who were the first to follow Jesus, Bitcoiners don't fight the status quo kinetically through coercive or violent means. Like a harmless dove, they simply opt out of the adulterated Ponzi scheme that we know as the global fiat monetary system. St. Peter, who was an original disciple of Jesus Christ, proposed the idea that faith without works is dead. This biblical logic can also be applied to the Bitcoin protocol. While faith is essential to the Bitcoin network having value, the implementation of the proof-of-work protocol is just as important. And while there is relative consensus amongst Christians about who Jesus was and what his life stood for, there were many within Christianity who held disagreements about which gospels were appropriate to put in the biblical canon. The Bitcoin network also had many disagreements about how the network should be interpreted. Is it a storage of value or a means of exchange? This has led to different digital denominations or hard forks that have come about after the Bitcoin network. Different cryptocurrencies such as Litecoin, Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum have all attempted to improve upon what Bitcoin is, but in reality, the different cryptocurrencies are most likely a distraction from the original purpose of Bitcoin, which was to be a peer-to-peer payment system without the need for a third party like a bank. And if I might say, there have been many parts of the biblical canon that have since been emphasized to a high degree by priests to further determine the proper way to be a Christian. Martin Luther of the 16th century proposed that a Christian was actually granted eternal salvation simply by having an unwavering faith in the belief of Jesus Christ. This radical interpretation of faith led to the Christian Reformation. This is one of the reasons why there are many denominations of Christianity, which include Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, Methodist, Baptist, and Presbyterian, among several others. The different denominations that have come about I'd like to call purity protocols. And these types of purity protocols are similar to the history of Bitcoin, as the interpretation of the Bitcoin protocol has been attempted to be changed many times to allegedly improve upon the overall performance of the Genesis coin. Institutional and state adoption of religion has gone on since the dawn of civilization. After Jesus' death, it would take another 300 years for Christianity to be widely accepted by major kingdoms in the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. In contrast, because of the technology available to us today, the Bitcoin network has been able to spread around the world in less than 20 years. Whether you agree with their purpose in life or not, the overall consensus is that Jesus' mission in life was to create a spiritual network that could save the world from eternal damnation, and his message has been challenged since his death. Satoshi's mission in life was to create a monetary network that could save the world from financial damnation, and that has been challenged since his disappearance. Alright folks, that's all I got for you today. Don't forget to like my video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. You already know who it is. Atlanta on Smash.